All right, thanks a lot, Susan, and thank you for tuning in to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh alongside Paul Zeise. We're going to be talking about the Battle in Buccos for about a minute, and then we're going to get into Antonio Brown, who has absolutely lost his mind, Paul. He apologized today, and it looked really sincere. And then tonight he posts a video on either Instagram or Twitter or whatever of a private phone conversation with John Gruden where they go back and forth. I just don't think this is a good look. I just saw just a tweet just now about Chris Mortensen said that Gruden was amused by it. But I wouldn't be amused by it, Paul. I mean, does this guy even want to play football?
I mean, there's a lot of evidence that suggests he doesn't. But, again, when it comes down to Antonio Brown, you say he's losing his mind. He never really had his mind. I mean, the bottom line is he's a jerk. Right. And, you know, what bothers me is the Raiders are going to enable what he's doing by letting him play. And that just goes to show you if you're really good, they're going to find ways to excuse what you do. You know, he should not be playing on Monday night, period. And they should actually be, fining him, suspending him, doing everything in their power to make sure he understands that he can't. But now, what could he possibly do to get disciplined?
I don't know.
He threatened and used a racial slur against the general manager. And he's going to play. So, to me, I don't want to hear the Raiders talk about, discipline. I don't want to hear about any of that. I don't want to hear about this guy anymore.
And he did it in front of teammates in a locker room setting. What does that say? Imagine if anyone did that in another workplace environment, whatever job you have, you did that to your boss and you still had a job.
Yeah, but that's different. I mean, comparing what goes on in this world of sports and in the real world is different. But the bottom line is, in any other locker room, if you know what I mean, how do you think it would go over if, you did that to Bill Belichick? You think you would be playing Monday night?
I think he would be cut if he did.
There's a chance he would have got cut if he would have done that to Bill Belichick.
Especially in front of the team.
I mean, and I would be willing to bet all of everything we say about Tomlin aside, if he tried to pull that against Tomlin, where in a locker room,
well, Tomlin did sit him that last game.
He threatened him, and all that other stuff. He threatened him and all this other stuff. He would have been sad. You can't do it. So, to me, the Raiders get what they deserve. I hope they go 0-16. I hope they lose 28 points. And I hope Gruden and Mayock look like fools at the end of this year. Because the bottom line is they deserve it. You get what you deserve. Well, you lay down with the dogs, you deserve to get fleas, period.
The one thing is there's a good chance that they might not win a game. That team looks awful. Especially now with these distractions that they're having. You can't say that this isn't a distraction. I mean, he's been a distraction since day one.
And you know that Derek Carr is going to get hurt. He always does. So he's going to get, he might play 3-4 games and then he's going to get hurt. And then you've got Mike Glennon as your starting quarterback. How's that going to go over with? That, to me, I was rooting for Nate Peterman to stay healthy, right? I was rooting for Derek Carr not to get hurt or something, but to, I don't know, take a trip to Italy and then his green card gets messed up. And so I don't want anyone to get hurt, but, or whatever. He can't get back in because his visa issues, you know what I mean? So he's stuck out for 3 or 4 months in Italy. So then, and then Mike Glennon comes in and, I don't know, gets heat exhaustion or something. And
then Nate Peterman comes in.
Decides he wants to retire, and Nate Peterman was a starter for, 7 or 8 or 10 games with big chest. That would have been poetic justice.
A serious question. I love when Pomp calls him, he just calls him chest. I love that. But anyways, do you think chest lasts the year, the season in Oakland?
If this
continues, they got to do something. They have to cut him. They have to do something.
But if he plays Monday, they're on the hook for the $14 million. It's going to be really difficult for them to not pay him. I mean, right now they still are able to get out from underneath it, foul grievance, breach of contract, all those other things. Once this season starts, all of those rules change, and it becomes much, much more difficult to do that. So I think if he plays Monday, he'll last the season because they're not going to pay him $14 or $15 million to not play.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't think it would be this bad. I did not think he was just going to go completely off the rails. It doesn't seem like he wants to play football. That's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, he is.
But he wants the money, so he keeps coming back for the money. But, I just can't believe a team would keep a guy around like this. That's what I just don't understand. A lack of respect for the general manager and the head coach.
Here's what I'm rooting for, though, now that he's going to play. I'm rooting for him to have like 20 catches for 40 yards for the entire season. That's what they deserve, and that's what he deserves.
Yeah, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen when he goes the first 2 games, 6 catches, 64 yards?
He's going to have 15,
he might not.
He's going to have 15 yards, 1,500 yards, and 14 or 15
Not with
touchdowns.
that team. There's no way he's having 1,500 yards. I'll bet you.
Well,
What's your over-under? I'm saying that he doesn't have more than 1,100. I'll put the over-under at 1,050.
1,050.
Yeah.
1,050.
That's what I said. What would you take, over or under?
I'm taking the over.
Okay, I'll take the under. All right, we're going to take a break. Back with your phone calls and some of your tweets coming up next. By the way, the Buccos, they won tonight. We're going to show you highlights in just a matter of moments. Stick around.